Oh, you can see we don't have that much battery, but anyway. So I just wanted just to make a little, who is the Antichrist? Because a lot of people seem to not know. I just saw a Roman movie. I don't think it was that historical, authentic. But it's interesting to see all these symbols and, well, the Roman ways and connecting all, the dots here and there. It's just all Roman bullshit pretty much. Yeah, everything. All the symbols out there. And I saw all the what they collected together like they also have in the US and other places. You also see them in the French Revolution as well in the movie in regards to these fasciites. That's the name, fasciites. So you see the fasciites where the Romans are standing, and then I just saw in regards of the French Revolution a movie from that. You see the fasciites as well. And of course in the US, I think it's the Parliament. You see the fasciites as well, fasciites. Goes back to Rome. But anyway, yeah, you see all the other symbols as well, like um, yeah, the salute, for example. It's not a Nazi salute; it's a Roman salute. And of course, we see this so-called Nazi salute being done by a lot of Mohammedans as well, like in the Gaza thing in regards to them and the group above and all that. You can see images where they do the Roman salute, which is just the Roman salute. Anyway, all roads leads to Rome. Have you ever heard that saying? Well, if you want to know who the Antichrist is, it's well, every single Protestant knew in the past. Every single Protestant knew who it was in the past, and I'll quote you just one here, just a that's huge amount of material. Just that's the last one. I just that I quoted. I guess it should be some, or maybe I didn't quote it on. Did not put it on. Apparently, I didn't put it on, but I'll see if I can find it another place here. Then, there we go. So, and as for the so-called Pope, but he just says Pope, I refuse him as Christ's enemy and Antichrist with all his false doctrines. Thomas Cranmer, he was a Protestant and he was burned at the stake for that view. So, anyway, so that was a hint to who the Antichrist was. You see, all the Protestants, protested against the Antichrist. And in our days, the ecumenical movement run by, as far as I know, the Jesuits, which are the special soldiers of Satan. And you can go read the Jesuit oath and all that and see how disgusting that is. You see, Roman Catholicism have no problem in regards of using Christian cover in some sense. They just use it as a cover pretty much, but it's a diabolical, filthy religion, a power-hungry power-hungry political institution. It's pretty much an empire. You see, Rome never died in some sense. It's still ongoing. And the Roman emperor is, is still the one that has been given all the power, dominion, and rule by the devil, the snake, the dragon, the liar, the deceiver, the murderer, and so forward. So, yeah. So the Antichrist is not only one man. You see, it's multiple. It's like a dynasty of men in the office and seat of the Antichrist. Now, of course, there will be a last single one, and he will be killed by Yeshua when he returns and so forward. And that's all future and all that. But yeah, we are heading for what I call poop doom, and they call it the New World Order. It's pretty much as I can gather the old world order with, on steroids, pretty much. The Pontifex Maximus, that was actually interesting because Julius Caesar, which I saw something about, he was, he was also the first dictator, I think, by the way. But anyway, but besides that, he was also the Pontifex Maximus, apparently. I listened to the last song they had in the video, and I was like, it says Pontifex Maximus, and I was like, okay, wait, was Caesar also Pontifex Maximus? And he was, it seems. So, of course, Constantine was Pontifex Maximus, the high pagan priest of sun worship. But I didn't know about the... Did I close the video down? There we go. The last song that was. It's called Julius Caesar full movie, but as I understand it, it's not so historical correct and all that. But anyway, at least some say that. I don't know much about Roman history. I can see all the connection points and all that, like in regards of Nazism and all that. I've been sitting and using time on looking on and connecting things and all that. And the cookie Jesus. What do you think the Nazis have on the flag? What does it look like? Well, if you know in regards to Roman Catholicism, it looks like the wafer, right? So, okay, so the wafer of the Roman Catholics goes back to sun worship and all that, in regards to the literal sun, dead sun and all that. So, okay, so let's think about what is the inside the Nazi flag. That's a symbol, right? What does that symbol represent? Oh, it represents the sun, right? There you go. You got it. Anyway, so that's just one of the links, you have so many links. Knights of this and that and so forward. And Hitler was in good standing. He was a Roman. He grew up as a Roman Catholic, and he was in good standing until his eligible death. And then, of course, we have the rat lines where the Nazis was fleeing through the Vatican rat lines. Ding, 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 ding. Not only the Nazis, I think the Ustashi also used those lines. It's just incredible. Of course, Nazi Germany had a concordance with the Vatican that was written in 1933, or agreement in 1933. You can look it up for yourself. In any case, they control all sides. As long as the Vatican and the Antichrist comes on top, it's like Inquisition in the clothes of war, right? It's very, getting all the Protestants to go to war against each other and all that, right? And fighting for the Antichrist and, whatever and all that. Clothing the Inquisition by war. Very clever, very clever. Very demonic, of course, but very clever. And, of course, Satan is very, very clever. Anyway, I remember like a book from 1998, I think, and it was writing about who the most prevalent Protestant nations was. It was Germany, England, and the U.S. Yeah. Then you take the First World War and Second World War, and anyway, and of course there's a lot of other things happening and persecutions and killing of people that don't want to be under the wings of the Antichrist. In any case, so who's the Antichrist? Well, the Antichrist is the papacy. It's the seat and office of the papacy. Every single triune tyrant is that Antichrist. He's the Pontifex Maximus. He's the Roman King, Caesar, Emperor. He sets himself up as King of Kings and Lord of Lords and Father of Princes and Kings or something like that. You can see when he's getting crowned, they say things in Latin in regards of these things. So you can go look that up. It's on YouTube. And what was it? Ruler over the universe and earth and the realm of death or hell, whatever. It's just incredible. The three crowns apparently should represent that. He sets him up as ruler of the whole entire world in both political, that would be temporal and civil powers, and in regards of spiritual powers. So he sets himself up as the head of the whole world in both political and spiritual powers. Also, he has a shadow. Now that shadow is the black poop, as I usually call them poop. Yeah, it's just much more fitting word, than we're not to call anyone Pope, right? So, of course, I could call him the Black Antichrist, whatever. Black Poop, I call him the Black Poop. So the Black Poop is the general of the Jesuits. He's the Black Poop. And he controls the Jesuits, which are the special soldiers of the Antichrist. Then, of course, you have different temple orders and a lot of secret groups out there working for this wicked system. And, of course, we do not know anything about that anymore. Because we don't take anything serious and we don't read the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation. And there's a lot of deceivers out there. Wolves in sheep clothing that leads people astray from this very truth. It's interesting, isn't it? How is it that no one dares speak about these things today? No idea. But it's still the truth and it stays the truth and it will continue to be the truth. Until this beast of the number 666 is thrown into the lake of fire. By the way, that another connection I found in regards of, it's all sun bullshit in regards to the literal sun, Sol Invictus, Mithra, Helios or something like that. I think Ra might also be in regards to the Egyptians. I'm not entirely sure how that connects, but, and then, of course, you have other names for different sun gods and all that. Apollo as well, that was one more. And others, and of course, in regards to the sun birth, in regards of the winter solstice and all that are celebrated by pagans, which, we apparently now, apparently are celebrating as well as professing Christians, which is, just totally abomination. And by the way, that would be in regards to the Roman time zone. That would be today, wouldn't it? Yeah, pretty much today. So I guess today the Antichrist will now be sent on television, in the Roman time zone here. I think he probably will be sent on television around 23, 23:30. I think that was last year. He was sent live on television or the internet, and I couldn't see it. I thought I should see it. I thought it was that I needed to see it with my own eyes, but I had to turn it off. That was so utterly demonic and disgusting. And apparently the Roman Catholics are commanded to go to Mass. You see, Christ Mass leads back to the false cookie Jesus and the continual perpetual sacrifice of the false Jesus cookie, the Jesus God, the wafer God, the dry wafer God, whatever. Yeah. So you see, that's a false version of Jesus. So now you know. But you can see him if you want to see yourself. It should be on your television, Today, look it up if you want to see it. It's just abomination, kissing statues, bowing before things, and, whatever. I had to turn it off. That was so disgusting. So disgusting. This is the wicked system of Satan. This is the masterpiece of Satan clothed in sheep clothing. So anyway, I heard this song and I just heard this pontifex. Let's see if I can find it. I think it's on Latin here, and this is the ending of this movie, and you see Caesar being knifed and killed and all that, daggered, I guess. It's just like he was apparently pretty popular. I guess, when Yeshua said, what does it in regards of, earning all the world and yet, I can't remember but I thought about that when the last part when Caesar pretty much is very popular, and it gets very very popular, and I guess pretty much. But anyway, he ends up being killed. It's incredible how these Romans are just killing each other, and just stabbing each other in the back. It's just and totally like a political game, and shrewd political game. And of course, the same thing in regards to the Antichrist today. They know how to play the political game. Anyway, so I guess it will come at some point. But yeah, apparently he was also a Pontifex Maximus, and apparently the Pontifex Maximus is what they said, like Pontifex Maximus here, but that was that in regards of. Here it says they were responsible for the Roman state cult as a whole, and for several cults in particular. And I said, I'm not sure what that means, I can't remember. The cult that had no priestly college of their own, such as the Auguros, the Decemvira Secris Faciendis, and the Fitialis and all that. But the Pontifex Maximus, he was the high pagan priest of sun worship. I think that, that's probably was sun worship at the time of of Caesar. I think that was something before the time, actually, in regards of the sun thing and all that. So, and of course, it wouldn't be surprised seeing that a lot of pagan religions, centers around the sun. The pagan sun. So, and the sun birth in regards of around the 25 December and all that. And that's just, another thing, when people are saying, oh yeah, but in regards of other societies and all that, they were not using the same calendar. Yeah, the sun goes down, right, and then begins to go up, right? So even if they're not using the same calendar, they might still be celebrating on that time, right? Because they know when the sun begins to go up again, right? It's just incredible. Some of these arguments that you hear is just incredible. And yeah, one thing is to totally lie and go around the truth and all that. That's one thing. Then another thing is that some people just denied outright that Christmas has any pagan roots and all that. We call it Yule in Denmark and all that. Again, going back to a paganism, Odin and all that. And of course, the other direction in regards to the Antichrist cookie and all that. And I'm sure you could probably find other links around whatever. It's all a big pile of bullshit, pretty much. But in any case, one thing is to deny that there's any paganism in regards to the festival of Yule or Christmas. Another thing is to, that's one, that's just outrageous, Then there are those that absolutely agree, yep, it's pagan, it's just all pagan, all that, And then they say, well, but it doesn't really matter. Let's just keep it, But it's all, at least they go so far to acknowledge it's actually all pagan bullshit. And I just don't understand how one could acknowledge that it's pagan bullshit and still keep it, I don't understand that, but but at least they're honest by standing, yeah, it's pagan, And I actually saw a young priest, saw on YouTube that he was pretty good. He was standing strong, on whatever you want to, but anyway, he stood strong against these traditions and all that. That's nice to see. Nice to see someone getting paid and actually standing for the truth, because that seems to be lacking in nowadays, that people stand for truth, and those that should stand for truth and actually has, work in education and all that, pretty much just, sing love songs to the Antichrist today. in our days. And don't tell anyone about the Antichrist of the number 666. They don't teach the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation, and don't teach the people anything, and a lot of people don't even want to talk about it. It's just incredible. Anyway, now so the Antichrist is the office and seat of the papacy, and now and you need to, of course, go out and test that and check if it's true. So I would suggest, the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation are two very good books to begin to reveal that. And overall, just reading the Bible, should lead you to the truth, a little by little, You don't learn everything in one day, and I still have a huge amount of things to learn. So don't, just a little here and a little there, and, be careful of Paul, Roman Pharisee Paul. All Asia rejected Paulus, okay? Shaul. Be careful of Paul. Don't get into lawlessness and all that, Satan was to come and sow the bad poisonous seeds, right? According to Yeshua. So take care of Paul. We know that 2 gospels went out in the world in the name of Yeshua. That was very close related, and yet, they seem close related, but they are very far apart. One leads to the law of God, and one leads away from the law of God. So that's, of course, 2 different things, right? But anyway, the Antichrist is the papacy, and every single man in that position represents the man of the number 666. One of the other things that I found in regards to connecting the 666 and all the things to sun worship and all that, that is the magic square of the sun, which number gets 666. Isn't that interesting? And I think that actually goes back to like Babylon, where they had these amulets to protect them for, whatever. Anyway, so a lot of superstition and all that. But and so that we have the number 666 again. So that's interesting, But the office and seat of the papacy is the man of the number 666. And you see the connection apparently also with sun worship there. Yeah, apparently there's so many links to sun worship. It's just all over, It's like the cookie Jesus. Look at that false cookie Jesus. It looks like a sun. And of course, the Antichrist is in the television on the very day of Christ Mass in regards of the winter solstice, doing his wicked things. And the Roman Catholics or the Papists are commanded to come to church on the Sunday. Was it Christ Mass or so? I can't remember. That was something in regards of that they have a command to go to Mass at that very point. I guess it must be Christ Mass. They're commanded to go to Mass at that point. The information is a little, rusty. There's so much up here, and it's not always easy to remember everything. So. And of course, they put the cookie in a sunburst, and you're allowed to worship it because they believe this cookie becomes divine. This is idolatry. It is whoring with Satan. And they think to sacrifice Jesus all over again for the dead and the living. In the Roman Catholic whorehouses, the synagogues of Satan. And yes, just stay out of that bullshit. Be very careful. Be careful of these wolves in sheep clothing that twist scripture totally out of hand. And, I guess children of the devil, pretty much. So be careful. Be very, 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 very careful. They sound very Christians when you talk to them. They don't tell you they actually worship a cookie, And anyway, we're closing for the battery, so that will probably go out. In any case, now and do your own research. If you go look in old material, old Protestant material, they all knew it. They all professed who the Antichrist was. They all knew it. That's what a Protestant is, someone that protests the Antichrist. So when Protestants are now running back to the Antichrist, they're not really Protestants anymore, it seems, right? Because they're not protesting, right? And the word, Protestant, protest, and so forward. Um, yeah, it's incredible how how people have just closed their eyes, and we haven't been taught the truth, and we are learning all these vanities of these pagan traditions like Christmas, and bye bye. We have a power of, may Jehovah bless you, and Yeshua be